his stories high. Breathing fire, his head in the sky. Godzilla.
I'm here. Hey guys, it's Chris, aka Vancouver Comic Junkie, and this is my first video. So let's do this. I'm basically just doing a CGC box, and I've been following guys like 3 Man in a Basement, Long Box, or Lords of the Long Box, sorry, and just loving what they're doing. It's just so much fun. Mr. Miracle Comics, guy rules. Just really enjoy watching the videos while I'm working. And I thought maybe I could throw something on the table. So here goes. So this week I got one box back from CGC, all moderns. They're, I'm pretty happy with it so far. And unfortunately, I already looked at the grades. So it's not like a big surprise here. We're not going to be, woo, I can't believe I got this. It's nothing like that. I'm just going to be showing them. So let's go. I have another box coming in a few days, which is super exciting during this awesome quarantine period of our lives. This is sadly one of the most exciting things happening to me this week. So here we go. Anyway, let's go. Let's see what we got here. Bags for your CGC or slabs. Very highly recommend them. I think they're BCW. Quite like them. So we kind of separated them a bit here, but I'm going to go back to. Let's start with this one. This is I'm not a big Spider-Man guy. I don't know why. Never really. I mean, I like Spider-Man. I just don't love him. He's not my passion. Unlike pretty much everyone else apparently. But every so often there's a couple books you need to have, like Amazing Spider-Man 129, issue 50. Those great covers, great characters. Wow, this is one I had to get. Was 252, and it's a 9.4. I didn't actually expect it to get a 9.4. I was expecting more of an 8.590-ish. But the reason why I have it is Canadian price variant, which it's pretty cool. And I'm Canadian, so that's awesome. But I found it raw at the Victoria Comic Con last year for an incredible deal. I couldn't say no. So here it is, 9.4. You can't beat that, man. That's awesome. I don't know. I might flip this one to try and get something bigger down the road. But at this point, this is a pretty cool comic. But as we all know, it's the first appearance of the symbiote costume, and it all goes from there. But I think it's tied for, Marvel Team Up 141 as the first appearance of the black costume. I dig it. So, and I hope you guys do too. So, let's see what else there is. Ooh. This one was kind of a find in a collection I bought with a really great collector out of Winnipeg named Gurr. We kind of partner up on stuff, and he found this collection and we kind of bought into it together. But this is one of the books that came out of it. After we sold everything, I kind of kept it thinking it was going to be a higher grade, but I'm still pretty happy with it. But it's Premiere 47, first Scott Lang as Ant-Man. It's a book I've never owned. Big Ant-Man guy. Who isn't? He's pretty cool. And the problem with the book is I actually thought it was going to be like a 9.6 maybe. It's really nice. But unfortunately, it came back a 9.2. So what are you going to do? It happens. It's just the luck of the draw. To be honest, I might crack it and send it again. It's that good. So, but these things happen. So I'm still pretty happy with it. What else do we got here? Ooh. Better unbag this one. So, a lot of my friends know this about me, but I'm a big Cosmic Marvel fan, like Silver Surfer and Warlock and just all that stuff, like Fantastic Four when they go into space, and I love all the X-Men space storylines, like X-Men 107, things like that. I've just always dug it, and so I had to get I'm collecting everything that's Cosmic, simply because I love it. And unfortunately, I've gotten to the point where I'm getting multiples of a lot of these things. But I got a nice little 234 of Hulk. It's where Marvel Boy becomes Kazar. And as we all know, Kazar became kind of a thing in the Marvel Universe. He's done pretty well for himself, I think. And, this a few years ago, this book was nothing. Like, you could pick these up in dollar bins, I think. Like, nothing. And I think, in 9.6, I think this is about a $120 book now, which is pretty cool. So, but I do have another one coming too. So I'll show you that in a bit. But I'm pretty happy with that. So I think I have like 5 of these things, which is kind of ridiculous. Oh, it's right here. Where is it? There we go. Ta-da! Here's the 9.8 I got back. I just rebagged it in a miler. This is for the old personal collection. So yeah, I got a 9.8. So can't beat that, right? It's about as good as it's gonna get, unless you get a 9.9, which is kind of impossible, I think. But we'll see. Maybe I'll try for a 9.9. It's never gonna happen. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with that. That's pretty cool. So that's gonna be in the personal collection. Enjoying the boys behind me. Next stop is, this is a modern book, and it's hot because of all the the MCU news, and people are specking on what's going to show up in the next Disney Plus shows and what's going to show up in the movies and blah blah blah, that kind of stuff, which is getting a little overheated if you ask me. I think people are blowing things out of proportion. But saying that, it's always good to buy a book when it's cheaper, and hopefully it pops. And I think this is actually a pretty cool book. So Hulk 449, first appearance of Thunderbolts. This is a book that no one gave a crap about at all, and that's all right. I mean, for a long time, it's really heated up in the last couple of years, and yeah, apparently there's going to be a team in the MCU. I don't know, maybe we'll see. But I got a 9.4, which I'm super unhappy about because I thought this was a lot higher. But it is what it is. I find with the late 90s printing on Marvels to be incredibly difficult to grade. For me anyway, the printing on them is just terrible. And the spines are they just have terrible spines. And they flake, all the ink flakes off them. And I find with that, I don't know if it's considered printing defects or what it is with the graders, because I've seen horrific looking 9.8s printed in this era. And then I get this 9.4 back, and it's pretty nice. Oh, it does have a ding here, but it's really nice, and it's 9.4. So it's just, for me, I can grade really well in the 70s and 60s, but yeah, late 90s, man, whew, it ain't happening. But I did get another one of those that's in the personal collection that I separated. That would be a 9.6. So I'm not unhappy about that. Sorry about the glare. There you go. I just got this new light for my phone here to record this, and it seems to be working really well, but I keep getting reflection. Anyway, 9.6, better deal. I don't know what this is worth. I don't think it's much, like $100 or something, but I'm gonna hold on to it for a while, see what happens. If it pops, it pops. I don't know. Wish it was 9.8, but what are you gonna do? Not unhappy about it. Okay, what's next? We have, what's the nice one? Oh, I hope you guys are Moon Knight fans, because I am. I'm super happy to hear that Moon Knight's really exploding, even though I don't have a Werewolf by Night 32. That I can't drag the price out of myself to buy it. I just can't do it. It's so expensive for that book, and it just doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. But it is what it is. And eventually I will just suck it up and do it. Maybe I'll do a trade for something. But I have been picking up these awesome Sienkiewicz Moon Knight covers, because, I mean, let's get the glare out of there. They're amazing. Jesus, look at that thing. It's gorgeous. But anyway, it's a black cover. Really hard to get black. I was hoping, obviously for a 9.8, but quite frankly, I didn't know what it would come back as. And when it, it doesn't have any, it's just a perfect book, but, with black covers, they nail you hard. But it came back in 9.6. Pretty happy with it. This one's staying in the personal collection because I just love Moon Knight, man. It's pretty cool. Anyway, moving along. else we got here? We got, ooh. This is interesting. I'll start from the bottom on these ones. I got 3 of these back, so I'm pretty stoked. I'm a huge Warlock guy. Like I mentioned before, cosmic stuff is just the coolest. I just love Marvel Cosmic. And Warlock obviously is one of my all-time faves. I mean, nothing beats Warlock's story. Like just right through it. I was really let down that it wasn't part of the Endgame world and Thanos' story, but what are you gonna do? So, but I'm a huge fan of his villains, and one of his coolest villains is Magus. And I got one back at a 7.5. I have to admit, I'm a little surprised by the grade, but it's okay because I got others, and they did pretty well. This is a really cool book. It's the first appearance of like his doppelganger kind of villain, and this storyline is the best. Like, if anyone hasn't read it, you got to go out and get like a trade for it. It's the coolest. But oddly enough, getting a high grade of this book is really difficult because of the black cover, and you know, it just dings up so easily, and it's in that era. You know, it's like 1975, where it seems to be this era where people kind of started really collecting around 75, 76. And this one, you can find books that are tons of 9/8s in 1976, but like even this book doesn't have tons of 9/8s. I don't know if it's because people don't want it, but I doubt that because it's a very cool book. I just don't think it was collected that much back in the day, and a lot have been banged up. So it is kind of a coup to get one over a 9.4 in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. So let's take a look at the next one. So I got another one. Boom, 9.2. Much better, much better. It's a pretty book. It's really nice. Again, it's the same thing as I mentioned before. Magus and black cover. 9.2, 1975. Feeling pretty good about it. It's a good book. You can still get these raw for nothing. If you go on eBay and just, you know, dig around, like, just keep looking. They turn up, man, raw all the time. And it's a pretty easy book to find that way. I found, that's how I found mine. Just like buy it now and late at night. They just pop up. Anyway, big fan of this book. I should show you the next one though, because that's the cool one. It's obviously in the personal collection. Ooh, here we go. Okay, so 9.6. Feeling pretty good about that. I personally haven't seen a 9.6 in person before. More because they just don't turn up around here in this grade. They probably, if you were at San Diego Comic-Con or one of the big Baltimore cons or something, you'd probably see them often. But in my neck of the woods, Vancouver, Canada, don't see them too often. It's pretty cool. I've seen them online, but it's not a super expensive book even. If you were to, you know, go online and pick one up on auction, you should be able to get it for around $400 to $500 in that range because it's all over the map. But which I think is a pretty good deal. Warlock hits the MCU, and look at this, Warlock hits the MCU. This guy's gonna explode. So I'm a big fan. Magus, remember it. Okay, what's next? Let's see what we got here. We got, well, this is a weird one. I sent this in. This comic was completely trashed, like just trashed. And I picked it up for $15. I don't even think it was that. I think it was $12. And this is Canadian, by the way, Canadian money, which is worth like pennies compared to you Americans. So it's really cheap. It's probably under $10 US. Anyway, and I looked at it, and I have this really great friend, Greg Gurr. He's out of Winnipeg. He owns a little company called Greg and Greg Pressing. And he is an old friend of mine. Greg and I have been friends since we were like 8. And we've always collected comics together. Even though we're across the country from one another, we call each other all the time. He's just an awesome dude. And we just kind of keep in touch with each other. But he does all my pressing. And he has become, I've had pressing done at a few places now. This guy just doesn't, like, he just does such amazing work. But anyway, this book, I swear to God, was going to come back like a 2.5. And he knocked it into a 5.5. Iron Fist 14, First Sabretooth. This is a great book. And I mean, for what I have into it, I mean, it's so weird, but a 5.5s, these things go for $100, $125. I do not know why. considering you can get like higher grades for not that far off that. I do have others, like I have others of this book. It's one of those books I believe in. I believe in all the X-Men keys, quite frankly. It's a weird time for X-Men because everyone knows that they're coming to the MCU. But man, they really took a hit in the last 10 years. You look back at like the 80s, when I was a kid and you'd walk into a comic store, you'd look up on the wall and it would just be like X-Men's everywhere. It was like they were the number one thing. Like they were the grail of grails. All the Byrne books, any key. Like I remember there was a signed Jack Kirby X-Men 3 at a store, my local store when I was growing up, and they wanted like $250 for it, and it was just trashed, and people just drooled over that thing. Anyway, it was like, it's a weird time for them because I think they're going to go back to that era. I honestly think once the MCU takes control of X-Men, they're going to be the number one team again. Like Avengers will be nothing. Like I really believe that if they do it right, and I think they will. It's going to be cool. Anyway, I'm excited about it. I'm a huge X-Men guy. So anyway, Iron Fist 14. You can't go wrong. It's fucking cool. So sorry for swearing. It's just what I do. Anyway, let's see what else we got here, guys. Oh. Okay. I think everyone's probably got one of these now. But I've been sending these off for a long time. I got a pile of them. But Eternals #1. I got a 9.6 on it. Quite happy about that, actually. I heard through the grapevine many years ago that Eternals was coming to the MCU well before people started really specking on it. And I was very lucky because I was picking them up for like $5. Anytime I saw one, I just picked one up. And I think at some point I had about 25 or 30 copies at least. Probably more. But anyway, I was able to get a lot of them graded, pressed by Gurr, and great job by him. And created a lot of, trade bait for other books. And I was able to get a lot of books because of these Eternals. And I still have quite a few. So if anyone needs an Eternals #1, I got plenty of them in every grade, like from like 8.5 all the way to 9.8. I have numerous of them. So I'm a huge believer in Eternals. I think they are the coolest. I think it's hard to gauge investing in them. People always say that like we should follow the gauge of Miss Marvel #1 and how that did so well, and sell when the trailer came, the last trailer comes out, kind of like Miss Marvel #1 was. That's where it peaked just before the movie. Sell then, it'll be great. I actually believe you should hold on to a few of these after the movie comes out. It's a weird thing because with Miss Marvel, we kind of knew who she was. Not everyone knows who Eternals are, and there's so many different characters within it, and they're also building so much history and just creating a whole new universe for the Marvel MCU. I think personally, it would be a very good idea to just kind of hold on to a few of them for yourself. There's a lot of great covers, great keys. There's, I think, issue 1, 2, 3, 5, 9, 11, and 13 are the major keys in it. They all have different first appearances. They're all fairly cheap right now because of coronavirus, and they're just kind of dumping right now just because we haven't gotten a trailer, nothing. It's actually a really great time to grab them. So I'd recommend grabbing some more. I think these are going to be more long-term than we think. And there's, who knows? Maybe this is a Black Panther number or first appearance of Black Panther for the future. I don't know. But I do think there's going to be more to it than we think. And I'm pretty excited about that. Regardless, I just look forward to the movie, and I love the comic. It's a really cool comic. Kirby forever. Okay, let's see what else we got. Ooh, I'll wait till this at the end. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so we got 2 of these. I got 2. This is a book when I was a kid. Everyone had it. It was one of those books like G.I. Joe #1. It just hit me at the right age. It's the reason I probably started collecting. G.I. Joe #1 is probably the reason I started collecting. G.I. Joe #1 is actually the book that I bought as my first back issue. I paid $1.50 for it, and my mom literally slapped me when she found out. Like, she was so upset that I would pay more than what it was worth for a used copy. It just infuriated her, and I understand now why that would be, but you know, it is what it is. I love G.I. Joe #1, but I also love Transformers #1. And I'll be honest with you, I've never owned a copy since I was a kid, and my copy from being a child was read within an inch of its life. Coronavirus. And anyway, saying that, it was just a loved book, and unfortunately, the movies came out and totally destroyed them for me. I couldn't stand them. I went out to grab a few copies of it years ago, but it just put such a bad taste in my mouth. I just never went for it. Well, now I had an opportunity last year at a convention. I saw a guy selling raw copies, and they were really nice. And he didn't want much for them. I was shocked how little they were going for, so I just grabbed both of them. Anyway, 9.6. It's a nice book. It's just a classic 80s book. I really think long term, it's just one of those books that's just always going to be around. People are always going to want it. But I got something even cooler. Because I got a 9.8 too. Feeling pretty good about that one. This one's definitely going to the collection forever. Well, not forever, but like, this is my collection one. I couldn't be happier. Like, look at this thing. It's gorgeous. It's just a work of art. And it looks really great next to my G.I. Joe #1. I find those are like brother-sister books. So I'm pretty happy about that. That's really cool. So, Transformers #1. Thumbs up. Can't go wrong. What's next, guys? Oh, here we go. This is a weird story. So I bought this book years ago. Well, not years ago. A year ago at a convention. I don't even know where I bought it. Anyway, but I do know the story behind it. I bought it because it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous book. Like, it looks like a 8.5, maybe higher. But, and this is before I really understood this, it had a water stain on the back, but it presents so well. But I bought it, and he had a price on it of like a 3.0 price. So I just snapped it up because I was kind of dumb to water stains, which I've learned a lot about in the last year. Anyway, it's a X-Men 94, and I got a 4.5 on it. Jeez, look at that cover. It's just gorgeous. Like, it's a beautiful copy. I have one already. I think I have it up here. It's just a 7.0. Picked up long ago. I love this book. I truly think this is one of the great covers of the Bronze Age. I just can't get enough of it, and severely underrated. But people are starting to notice it now. It's really starting to pop up in value. When I was a kid, this was there was Giant Size X-Men and there was X-Men 94, and quite frankly, they were the exact same price. And I do remember a time when 94 was even more desirable, so, which is strange, but it was what it was. So I gotta say, I love this book. I just love it. But a 4.5, you know, I picked it up simply because, you know, when they heat up and the X-Men hit MCU hard, it's a good book to have for trade. If anyone wants to trade for something else, you know, I have one already, so this will be a nice, you know, trade bait. And I like that. It's cool. Everyone should have an X-Men 94. Let's see what else you got. Sorry, I'm so sniffly. I got a cold apparently. God, I hope it's not the COVID. Okay, what's next? Oh, here we go. Got two of these. That's an interesting one. So, Nova #1. First Dick Rider. So, which is an unfortunate name. But, yeah, he's basically like Spider-Man or Peter Parker in space, which is a lot cooler than it sounds. But it really is. It's you can't beat that cover. It's the first appearance of a really cool character who, quite frankly, became way cooler in the modern age with all the new stories. Word on the street is he's hitting the MCU soon. That happens. And, you know, these books are going to be awesome to have. So I got a couple. I got a 9.6 on this. I was really hoping for a 9.8 because one of these ones, it was just flawless. It was just flawless. I'm actually quite shocked I got a 9.6 and a 9.6. I thought I would have got a 9.8 and a 9.2. Like, so anyway, here's the other one. Ta-da! Stereo Novas. I'm pretty happy with them. You can't be unhappy with a 9.6. It's on a bronze book. It really is good. I didn't pay much for them, so I'm pretty content. I mean, really. And I have a few others too. So I think I have like 4 9.6s. Just in hopes that, the stories are true and he becomes a big MCU guy. That happens. And come on, easy street, guys. Not really. But I'll keep one and trade the rest for something else I want, which will be really cool. Which is kind of why we're here, right? Just collecting. It's fun. Anyway, let me just rebag these things. You can listen to me wheeze from my cold. Okay, where are we here? We are at... Oh, here we go. Eternals. Another Eternals. This one's kind of a weird one. It's Eternals 13. This is a strange book. I think it's the first appearance of Gilgamesh, who is going to be a character in the movie. I don't know if he's the character who's the gay character. I'm not sure. But he's apparently a big deal in the film, which is great. But the weird thing about this book is in the last 6 months, 9/8s are selling for like $3,000, $2,000 to $3,000, which makes no sense. That's more than any other Eternals book. Is it because there's only a few of them and people are trying to put together 9/8 runs? Maybe, probably. Or is there a secret cabal out there of collectors that know something? Maybe. Saying that, I was hoping to get a 9.8. I got a 9.6. Not unhappy about it, but man, there is a big difference in price. I think this is like a $90 book in 9.6, and literally $2,000 to $3,000 in 9.8. It's a mystery that I don't think many people are going to be able to answer for a while yet. So, but it is it's a Kirby cover, 9.6 Kirby cover, bronze. Look at that back. Oh man, I love that. Spalding. Back so many memories. Anyway. It's a cool book. I'm not unhappy I got it. I think I picked it up at a dollar bin about 4 years ago. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I have so many Eternals to the point where I may get a divorce over it. I'm kidding, kind of. What else we got here? Oh, this is a book I believe in a big way, and I have a 9.8 and a 9.6 already, just from over the years, and I was able to pick them up fairly reasonably. And I was just picking up the odd raw every so often. It's just one of those books that kind of goes under the radar pretty easily. It's either really overpriced or really cheap. I don't know why. It's just one of those books. But anyway, it's 2001: A Space Odyssey, issue 8. It's the first appearance of Machine Man. There are rumors about him entering MCU. Is that true? We'll find out. I just think he's a cool goddamn character. I mean, the Barry Windsor Smith series from the 80s is incredible. I just think the world of it. And just to have his first appearance, it's still one of those like 70s bronze Marvel first appearances that you can get for a good deal. And I'm more than willing to, snag a few. You can still invest into it, is what I'm saying, without breaking the bank. What else do we have? We have, sorry, give me a second here, guys. Oh, here we go. Okay, here's another Kazar book. It's Captain America 217. It's where, let's read it. First appearance of Marvel Man, Wendell Vaughn, who later becomes Kazar. Remember Kazar from earlier. This is actually out of the Hulk 234 and this. They were always kind of like brother-sister books. This one seems to be a lot hotter. It seems to be the book that people want a little bit more. I don't know why. They're kind of same book in a lot of ways. But I actually think the 234 should be more exciting just because it's really Kazar in that one. But it's a cool book. I was expecting a bit higher grade, but 9.2 is fine. I was picking up Raw a while ago, and for good deals because they go for a lot graded. I think, God, I don't even know what 9.8s go for, but 9.4s are, I think, a $300 or $400 book. I could be wrong, but I think it's not. It's just a little out of touch, for such a lower end key. But it's a cool book. I mean, and Captain America Bronze Age books, you can't beat them. They're usually quite cheap, but you know, and look at that back cover. Creepy. Anyway, I'm happy to have this book in my collection. Here's a book that is crazy hard to get in high grade. I do not know why. It just is. I have been looking for a high grade for a long time. eBay everywhere. I'm sure Heritage or Comic Link may have had a few go through it in the last couple of years in super high grade, but there was a 9.8 of this that sold for I think close to $1,100 just recently. And you know, our economy is not great right now, so that's incredible. But it's Fantastic Four 164. I got a 9.6 in it, which I'm very happy about. I have a few others that are going to go in as well. But anyway, it's the first Frankie Ray. What does CGC also have to say about it? First Bronze Age appearance of Crusader, Robert Grace. So we got that going for it too. I don't know if that's really anything to go for it. But the Frankie Ray thing's a thing. So apparently she's going to be the second Herald of Galactus in the MCU. That's all the hubbub's about. But hey, if you're looking for this book, I wish you luck. It's hard to get in anything over a 9.0. I don't know why, because you could buy any of the other Fantastic Fours in the era for this, you know, for very little, quite frankly. I don't know why. In my hunt for them, I think I've bought 10 copies, and this is the best one. And I don't think I've ever paid more than $10 for any of them. But it's getting expensive now. So like if you, even raw copies I'm seeing go, you know, that are apparently eBay near mints, you know, they're 40, $50 for raws. That's quite a lot for this book. You know, it's not a real big deal book. So whenever I'm looking at a collection or looking in back issue bins, I always look for this book. And I don't know, it's just one of those back of the brain books that I always have. So anyway, I have a few more going in, and hopefully I get that elusive 9.8. That would be awesome. But 9.6, I'm not going to complain. Okay, I got something really cool to show you guys. This is a big deal book to me. Let me just pull. I got 4 of them back, and this was something that I'm going to go back to Greg Gurr, my presser. The magic and voodoo he did on these books. I don't know what he did, but he just knocked it out of the park. It's incredible what he did. I'm just blown away. So we're going to start with the first one, the lowest grade. Anyone from the 80s knows this is the book. In my opinion, this is like this is the number one 80s book for me. And a lot of guys I know, but not everyone, obviously. It's not a superhero book, but it's a cool book. G.I. Joe 21 for Storm Shadow, the silent issue. I think this book is one of those books that goes past just being a first appearance. Like Storm Shadow is cool, but he ain't that cool. He's not, you know, the value of this book cool. This book's like beyond that. It's the book when I was a kid. People just like everyone had to own it. It didn't matter what, and I didn't. It was one of those books I just missed, and I remember my friends flaunting it that they had copies of it. And it just to read it was cool. It was just the coolest story. I'd never seen anything like it. And quite frankly, this might be my favorite comic book ever as a story. Dark Knight, Watchmen, all that. I think it beats it. Just simply from, maybe it's the nostalgia. I don't even care. It's a cool damn book. But out of the 4 I got, this is my first one, 9.0, which surprisingly is pretty expensive right now. There's a movie coming out, just so everyone knows, called Snake Eyes. Storm Shadow's in it. It's from what I know, I do work in the film industry. It looks like it's being done right. I'm in Vancouver and it's shot here, and it just, from what I've heard, it's the real deal. I hope that's true. I really do. I adore Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow and that whole world. I really hope they nail this. So G.I. Joe 21 9.0, can't go wrong. What's next, boys and girls? 9.2. G.I. Joe 21, can't go wrong there. Pretty good. It's the next step up. Anyway, Greg knocked this out of the park. God, I don't know how he did it, but this book looks like an entirely different book than when I handed it into him. Just incredible work. I'm so impressed. And the cleaning on it, incredible. So The other one had a little bit of foxing. I think that's what brought it down. Because it's gorgeous. It's structurally, it's gorgeous. Probably like a 9.6, maybe higher. But it's a 9.0 because of foxing. Foxing is a weird one. I actually, to be honest, don't know how to grade foxing. I see foxing and I think it's a stain and it drops it down to a 5.0. So what do I know? Anyway, want to see number 3? I think you do. 9.6, baby. Oh yeah, can't go wrong there. Look at that book. 9.6. Oof. Frogger. Anyway, this is a great book. I couldn't be happier with this book. A 9.6 is it's just gorgeous. When I got the box, I opened it up and I think I stared at these 4 books for like 20 minutes. Like I just stared at them like a kid. And I'm super happy with it. I'm just super satisfied. And you know, when you're collecting, sometimes being satisfied with things doesn't happen when you get stuff. You chase something for a long time, you get it, and it just kind of doesn't scratch that itch you're looking for. This one did. This was one of those books that did. I just adore it. And I highly recommend anyone who collects 80s books. I don't collect a lot of 80s books, but I do collect the odd key and books that were sentimental to me. This is the book to get, in my opinion. Yeah, I think this is better than Spider-Man 300. This is, or New Mutants 98. That's how awesome I think this book is. So let me show you the last one. So I showed you the good ones so far, and now I gotta show you this one. 9.8. Oh yeah, I got the 9.8. Oh man, I honestly didn't think I would get this, but I did. It finally happened. It couldn't happen to a better book. Structurally, this book is perfect. If they would have given me a 9.9, I wouldn't have been surprised. It's really that nice. There's a little bit of a story behind this book. So I bought this on eBay right around the time I heard they were doing a Snake Eyes movie. And I went on my comic shop and I think I bought all their, 7.0s and all the way up to 9s raw. And then I bought this graded in a 9.6. And I overpaid for it by more than I'd like to admit. But I just had to have it. It just was one of those moments. And yeah, I overpaid for it by probably about 30%, which is kind of not my way. I usually get deals. It's kind of, when you got kids, you got to get deals. But so I got this book and it was perfect. Like it was a 9.6 and I could not find any problems with it except right here on the corner, it was just a little ripple. And so I was like, I wonder if we could press that up to a 9.8. So I went and actually, for the first time ever, I bought the notes, the grader's notes, and it mentioned that ripple, that little ripple. And it's not color breaking, it's all white. And that was the only grader's note on it. And it was a grader's note on a 9.6, which is rare itself. And so I just thought, wow, Greg Gurr, this seems to be a commercial where Greg Gurr is pressing. So I sent it to my buddy Gurr, and he pressed it. He cracked her out and pressed it, and we sent it in, and that's the results right there, man. 9.8. This will never leave my collection. I don't think it will ever. This is like, I could own an Amazing Fantasy 15 and a 5.0, and that would go before this. Or even a Fantastic Four #1, which is a grail book for me. I would prefer to have this book. I know that sounds insane, but I am utterly joyful owning this book. This is why I'm here. G.I. Joe 21, man, 9.8. Woo-hoo! I'm really happy. So, is there anything else here? I think we're done. I think we're done this box. I do have another box coming though, so there's going to be another video. And I'm just going to continue doing these because it's kind of fun just talking about comics, and hopefully I can get part of the community. I'd love to have you guys ask questions. If you have any books that you're interested in, throw some offers out. If not, it's cool too. If you just want to chat, I'm up for it. We got time. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We got all the time in the world. So, and I hope everyone's staying safe out there. Hopefully you're staying home with your families, and You don't have to get out there in the world, and I hope everything's good. Let's just escape into some comic stuff for a little while. That's all I want to do until I get back to work. I probably don't get back to work till like June. I've been told by industries now until then. So I got all the time in the world. And let's talk some comics. Anyway, it was great to be here. It's great to do this. It's nerve-wracking. I probably screwed this up 1,000 different ways, but it was a fun time. Anyway, hope you had a fun time too, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Know how you feel about it, Wolverine, but...
You know nothing, little man.